Let's talk about a service that's pretty much the bedrock of the modern internet, Amazon EC2. Seriously, if you've ever been amazed at how an app can just explode onto the scene and go global overnight, well, the story almost always starts right here.
Okay, so picture this. You have a fantastic app idea. It's ready. And you need to launch it, like to the entire world, right now. You think maybe millions of people will use it, but will they all show up on day one? Or will it be a slow burn? How on earth do you prepare for that?
Not that long ago, this whole scenario was a nightmare. It meant you had to go out and buy a bunch of really expensive physical servers. And you had to find a place to stick them, set them all up, and just guess how many you'd need. It was slow, it cost a fortune, and if you guess wrong, too bad. You were stuck with that hardware, used or not. It was a huge roadblock to getting new ideas off the ground.
And that exact problem, that slow, expensive, rigid world of physical servers, is precisely what Amazon EC2 was built to destroy. It didn't just tweak the old model, it completely flipped the script by making the server itself flexible, or as they call it, elastic.
So what is it, really? At its heart, Amazon EC2 is a service that lets you rent virtual servers instead of buying physical ones. Amazon calls these virtual servers instances. It means you get access to raw computing power whenever you want it, from anywhere in the world, and you never have to see, touch, or smell a single piece of hardware.
That word, elastic, is the real magic here. It means you can react in real time. Let's say your app goes viral. Boom! You can spin up hundreds of new servers in minutes. And when things quiet down, you just shut them off, just as fast. This changes everything. Computing goes from being this huge upfront purchase to being a utility, kind of like electricity. You only pay for what you actually use.
Okay, so to really get a grip on EC2, you've got to know its basic building blocks. The best way to think about it is like you're building a custom PC, but you're doing it all with clicks in a web browser. So let's take a look at the DNA of your virtual server.
So putting one of these together is kind of like following a recipe. First, you pick your blueprint. That's the AMI, or Amazon Machine Image. It's the template that has your operating system and maybe some software already installed. Then you decide how powerful it needs to be. That's the instance type. Do you need a tiny little server or a massive data crunching beast? To keep it safe, you set up a security group, which is basically a virtual firewall, your own personal bouncer. And finally, you get a key pair. Think of this as the unique, unbreakable digital key to your server's front door. Only you have it.
Now, one of the most critical choices you'll make is about storage. This is a big one. For any data you need to keep around, you use something called an EBS volume. It's just like a detachable external hard drive. Your data is safe and sound on it, even if you turn the server off. But for temporary work where you need insane speed, there's the Instant Store. It's blazingly fast because it's physically attached to the machine, but it acts like RAM. The second the power goes off, poof, everything on it is gone.
So when you have this kind of flexibility, you can imagine that EC2 isn't just for tech companies. Nope, it has become a fundamental building block for pretty much every industry out there. We're talking everything from online shopping carts to actual rockets.
You see the common theme here, right? It's all about needing massive power, but only on demand. A retailer needs it for that crazy Black Friday rush, but not on a slow Tuesday in February. A bank needs it for split-second risk calculations. A movie studio needs it to process a new blockbuster film. Even a satellite company uses it to analyze these huge bursts of data sent down from space. EC2 gives them that power exactly when they need it and only for as long as they need it.
And to make this super concrete, look at a company like Orange Theory Fitness. They use EC2 to process live workout data, like heart rates, for more than 100,000 members every single day. This lets them give people real-time feedback and grow their business around the world, all without ever having to manage a single physical server themselves.
But EC2 isn't just about running websites or crunching daily data. It is the absolute engine that's driving one of the biggest tech revolutions we've ever seen: artificial intelligence.
See, to train a big AI model, you need a staggering, almost unimaginable amount of computing power. And EC2 delivers that with special types of instances that are packed with powerful GPUs. This is the raw horsepower that lets scientists predict the weather, that lets developers build the chatbots we talk to, and lets researchers train the incredible generative AI models that are changing our world.
And the crazy thing is, getting an AI project started on EC2 is way more straightforward than you'd think. The process is pretty simple. You start with a pre-built deep learning template, you hook up your dataset, you pick one of those superpowered GPU instances, and you hit go. After that, it's all about watching the process and tweaking it to get the best performance for the lowest cost. It gives practically anyone access to world-class AI tools.
All right, so we've covered what EC2 is and what it can do, but how do you actually use it well? Moving from just being a user to being a pro. That's all about adopting a few key mindsets around security, automation, and making sure your stuff doesn't fall over.
Honestly, getting really good at EC2 comes down to just a handful of disciplines. First, security. You lock everything down, giving things only the exact permissions they need, and you guard your private keys like they're gold. Next, automation. You build your systems using code so they're perfectly repeatable and reliable. Then comes resilience. You use tools like auto-scaling and regular backups so your app can survive pretty much anything. And finally, you stay vigilant. You watch your costs and your performance like a hawk, so you're always running as efficiently as possible.
So we've gone on this journey from the problem of clunky, rigid, physical machines to a world where, for all practical purposes, you have infinite, elastic computing power available on demand. The walls that used to stop people from building something huge, something innovative, something world-changing, they've never been lower. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?